Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Berryjuicysweet Dishes. And if this is your first time, then welcome to my channel. Please hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell right beside. To all my returning viewers, welcome back. And to everyone, all positive vibes. Well, today we will be making some slow cooked smothered pork chops. Let me show you how. Let's begin. So I washed my pork chops in advance of prepping for this recipe. So I have 5 center cut pork chops, or you can use thinly sliced pork chops for this recipe. So I'm going to take about 1 teaspoon of the Sazon complete seasoning, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on the top of my pork chops. This season is optional because I'm going to actually rub the seasoning on both sides. So next I'm going to take 1 teaspoon of the Sazon tropical seasoning, and I'm going to also sprinkle this on the top of my pork chops. This season is also optional. Next I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Correction, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. So now I just want to make sure that I rub all of my pork chops with the seasoning so it'll be evenly coated. And as you can see, the excess water at the bottom of the pan is because I rinsed my pork chops before I seasoned them. I always rinse my meat unless it's the ground beef. And I did not pat my meat dry, but that's okay, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. And as you can see, both sides of my meat are evenly coated. So I'm going to sit this to the side and bring out a small onion. So I have a small onion, and I'm going to finely dice this onion. Next, I'm going to go ahead and warm up my skillet. So I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of some olive oil. Once my oil has heated up, I'm going to go ahead and drop 2 of my pork chops in at a time, or maybe 1. Depending on the size of your skillet, you can put more than 1, but my skillet is only able to hold 1 at a time. So I'm going to take about 3 to 4 minutes to brown this pork chop per side. All right, let's flip it over. As you can see, it's starting to caramelize on the top. So we're going to go ahead and do the other side for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then we're going to keep doing this until all 5 of our pork chops is cooked. And I don't want to overcook my pork chops. I just want to caramelize it enough on the top, because once we put it in the crock pot, it'll fully cook. All right, so as you can see that my oil has evaporated because it had saturated inside of the pork chops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more tablespoon of the olive oil. So I'm going to let that oil heat up once more so I can start with another batch of the pork chops. So now we're going to flip it on the other side. And we will repeat these steps until each pork chop is seared. Look at how nice and caramelized my pork chop is. So now what I'm going to do is, this is the last pork chop that I had to sear. So I'm just going to set this to the side. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add that small onion that I cut up. So I'm going to saute this, and then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of some minced garlic. I just want to saute this until it turns a little brown. So I want to add about a half a cup of some chicken broth. With this step, I begin to deglaze the pan. Next, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of some Worcestershire sauce. Let's give it a good stir. So I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of some dried thyme leaves. Let's give that a stir. I'm going to also add a half a teaspoon of some garlic powder. I'm going to also add a half a teaspoon of some onion powder. All right, let's give that a stir as well. Also add 1 teaspoon of some smoked paprika. You can just use just regular paprika. Doesn't have to be smoked. And also, this is a perfect time. It's only an option if you want to add some fresh mushrooms. of the cream of mushroom soup. This is about 26 ounces. All right, let's give this a good stir. All right, now let's get our crock pot ready. Okay, let's get our crock pot ready. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those speared pork chops and I'm going to line it up to the bottom of my crock pot. Next, I'm going to take my mixture and I'm going to pour it on top of my pork chops. So I'm just making sure that every pork chop is covered. So I'm going to cover and then I'm going to cook this on a low heat for about 4 to 6 hours or until the pork chops are tender and done. So let's set it for about 6 hours and we'll come back in 4 hours or so to see the doneness of our pork chops. So our pork chops are 2 hours into cooking. So far the edges are beginning to bubble. So we'll come back and check on it within another hour or so. So my pork chops are 3.5 hours into cooking. It is ready. All right, now our pork chops are ready. Let's get ready to serve it on the dish. So I'm going to serve my smothered pork chops on top of some garlic mashed potatoes. All right, so I'm going to garnish the top of my smothered pork chop with some dry parsley. All right, so let's give it a try. All right, let's give it a try. This pork chop is actually tender. I'm just trying not to make a mess of how beautiful it's arranged on the mashed potatoes. And here you see a bit of the cheesy strands in my mashed potatoes. Oh, that is delicious. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Don't forget to hit that like button and share the video. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Bye for now.